We're live. Hello. Hi, everybody. My camera is being a butt again. Give me 2 seconds to fix that. While I'm fixing that, hello. I'm Amanda Call. This is my channel. This week, we are going to be working on an Age of Night page. I'm going to be working on my webcomic, Age of Night, Chapter 30, page 10. And it's a relatively simple page, so hopefully we'll be able to get through it in not too much time. All right, autofocus off, autofocus on. Stop freaking out on me now. I don't know why it does this like every other time I try to stream, but okay, we seem to have fixed it now. Moving on. So I have a mostly blank piece of paper here. I have put on all of my panel borders. Over here, I have my layouts that are going to tell me what's going to go in those panel borders, and I have a script just underneath there that I'm not going to show you because I do not want to spoil what is coming, but that is for me to refer to so that I know what the little scribbles on my thumbnails mean. All right, those are taped up off to the side so that I can refer to them while I am working. And now I'm going to start with the drawing. We're going to start by just kind of roughing stuff in. I've got a reference image that I am looking at on my screen over here for this opening panel. Because, like, I have a vague idea of what I want this to look like from my sketch, but I want the details to have, like, some bearing on reality, not be something I've completely made up out of off the top of my head that doesn't really look like anything. Just a good thing to have. So, how is everybody doing? I missed last week. I was hoping I would be able to make it, but I was busy running around getting ready for Gen Con, and I realized that no, it's just not realistic for me to try to get ready for a convention and also stream, and so I did not. Because last week from Wednesday until just yesterday, Monday, I was at Gen Con in Indianapolis, Indiana. I think that's still too big. I want a very tiny figure in the middle here. He needs to be tiny. He needs to be dwarfed by his surroundings. There we go. Much more tiny. All right. So I also got another. Got some more of my reference to try to figure out what I want this to look like. Get all sorts of fun rocky shapes. Yep, we're doing rocks again, people. That's what we're doing. Okay. We got some rocks. We got some rocks roughed in. And I'm gonna quickly sketch in where I want my speech bubbles to go later. Make sure I leave plenty of room for them. But yeah, I've gone to Gen Con a few times. Last year I went and worked with Free League, which was a lot of fun. This year I went with DV Games because my friend Bryce works for the US division of DV Games. They're an Italian company. It was a really good time. They do like a lot of board games and stuff, and so I got to spend the weekend hanging out with cool people, demoing board games, buying way too much cool stuff like you do. Like you do at Gen Con. All right. There's the next panel roughed in. All right, this is going to be an interesting gesture to try to come up with because this is a person falling, kind of tumbling down a hill, having lost their balance. I feel like that's a little bit too like frog like. What's going on there? For like leading with this foot a little bit. Hey, it's Bud. Hello, someone saying. Yeah, new comic pages. All right. Is this better? Do I like this better? I'm not sure. All right. We'll see. We'll give that a try. But yeah, we have some oh no's falling. And then down here. Hello, it's a whole bunch of people. It's a whole bunch of everybody saying hi. Hello, everybody. How are all the kiddos? Oh, good. Glad everyone is good. All right, now we've got this person coming to a stop, a very rough stop at the bottom of the hill. Like a big puff of dust around them. Followed by lying on the ground. Like, oh my gosh, what just happened? Okay. So, everybody is roughed in. We've got everything roughed in. So now we can start going back to the top and making this a little bit more refined, but first I'm going to sharpen my pencil. But yeah, so I had a very busy weekend. It was a lot of fun. I'm very happy to be home. Like, conventions are always a very good time, and thankfully, DV did not make me work, like, all my friend Bryce was like, "No, you guys aren't working all day, every day. That's just too much." Um, so I got to spend a fair amount of time just kinda, like, wandering around and enjoying the convention and shopping and talking to people, because getting to see people and that I don't get to see very often, a lot of my gaming industry colleagues and friends, that's always, like, a big part of what I enjoy going into these conventions and doing, so oh, yeah, it's some rocks. Heck yeah, rocks. Yeah, it was a good time. So these rocks actually have, like, some grass around them. It's not we've moved out of the completely barren, nothing but rocks land. Now we're into there are rocks and there's also some grass, but mostly rocks. Also, a lot of this is gonna be kinda dark because there's gonna be some heavy shadows because this is like a twilight. Oh, thank you. All right, we got some rocks in the foreground there. I feel like I did not actually sharpen my pencil that much. It still feels very dull. Let's try this again. Okay. And like lots of just little rocks poking out of the ground a little bit. Like just barely. Erase some of my scribbles. I want this one great big rock in the front here. I have a nice reference image of this great big rock I'm going to try to draw. This is a very cool rock. It's got lots of cool little like plane changes and stuff on it. All right. That's that cool foreground rock. I enjoy this rock. It's very neat looking. Okay. I got to do some more. They can't all be that involved or else I'll never get this page done. But yes, Gen Con is completely bananas. It is the largest convention I go to, and it's like 60,000 people, and it was sold out. The whole weekend was sold out, all 4 days. So even Thursday was, like, just as crazy and packed as Saturday, which is just totally, totally unreasonable. Too many people. I can do it for a short period of time, but holy cow, I was very happy to get home and be surrounded by absolutely nothing. 'Cause good grief. Thank you so much, Sheepy. I mean, I have an underdrawing there. It's very light. It doesn't show up super great on the camera, and so that gives me informs me of where to put these cleaner lines as I go forward. And I also try to clean stuff up a little bit as I go so it doesn't get too messy and confusing for me later when I go to ink it. Have some other foliage peeking out between these rocks. And I have a reference image of like a rocky hillside so that I can keep kind of glancing up and getting ideas for other rock shapes. So I'm not just like making everything up as I go. There's a certain amount of that. I'll be real. Oh my God, I'm talking to myself. It's so weird. My child has signed into my YouTube account and is commenting on my video. Oh, good grief. Hello. I hope you're having fun watching. Silly kids. Yes. Yeah, so Sheepy, this is my webcomic, Age of Night. This is actually chapter 30, page 10. It's available at ageofnight.com, ageofnight.com. It is a fantasy comic. It's a group of friends that are on a quest to free one of them from a reincarnation cycle that makes him a slave to their church and has also turned him into a house cat. And along the way, he develops new powers. They deal with different powerful factions that want to either help them or hinder them on their quest, use his powers for their own, or try to aid him in becoming free from the powers that be that have been controlling his life or lives, rather. Um, and yeah, it's got magic and ninja sword fights and giant cat monsters and other types of giant monsters, and it's a very fun, adventureful time, and you can read the whole thing for free on my website. Barney Barney says, "Is this the same Amanda Call that was at Gen Con?" Yes, it is the same very tired Amanda Call that was at Gen Con. I got home like around noon yesterday, and I literally just like, so I'm famous. I'm glad you think so, Barney. I got home at like noon yesterday and basically just like took a nap, unpacked a little bit, took another nap, unpacked a little bit more, dozed lightly. Just like, I just need to sleep and recover. I'm so tired. Okay, we're finally gonna add this guy here. All right, there's our sad little figure there. He's so small. How long do comic pages normally take you to finish? Am I still tired? No, I'm feeling much better now. I got plenty of sleep last night. I am feeling a lot better now. So depending on how complex the comic page is, it'll take me anywhere from 2 to 3 hours to draw, sometimes longer, maybe sometimes more like 4 or even 5 hours if it's something, like, really complicated or, like, lots of action, sometimes that's tricky. Um, and then if it's, like, a talking heads page, that'll take me, like, maybe 2 hours to draw, not very long at all. Um, Inking, it depends then, like, whether I am doing an Age of Night page, which has a very, like a very rendered, lots of texture pen and ink work inking. That's gonna take me probably like 3-ish hours to get the whole thing inked, sometimes a little bit more, again, if it's very intense. And then if it's more like a traditional comic page where it doesn't have all of the pen and ink rendering on it, then it'll take me like, I don't know, like maybe 2 hours to ink. Yeah, and then if usually if I have that more, like, traditional comic ink, it's gonna be colored, and that takes me a very long time because 'cause I'm not very good at it. I mean, I'm not, like, bad at it, I'm just not as proficient at it as I am drawing and inking, so I'm not anywhere near as fast. So that usually takes me quite some time. Couldn't even hazard a guess how long 'cause I feel like I slip into a timeless void whenever I start coloring a page. So yeah, the overall time is then anywhere from like 4 hours to like the 14 hours. Is that why you're out there forever? Yes, that's why I am out in my studio forever. That is, in fact, why I'm out in my studio forever. Greetings. Hey, it's Jeffrey Rees. Yeah, it has been a while. Takes me days to complete one art piece. Yeah, it depends on what it is, because if I'm doing, like, an illustration piece, those definitely take a very long time too. If it's, like, a traditionally illustrated piece, especially, like, that takes a long time. I don't know what I have nearby that I could show you. I have all of my studio's chaos. I do have an Instagram. My Instagram is Amanda Call Art, AmandaKahLart. Uh, I also have a Blue Sky, but I don't upload images to that very often because it doesn't seem to work half the time. Half the time when I go to upload an image onto Blue Sky, it's just like, "Haha, JK, I'm broken. I will not upload that," which is very frustrating when you're trying to use a social media platform as an artist, but I'm done with Twitter, so I don't have a Twitter anymore. I do have a TikTok, but I don't use it anymore. Barney, do you actually still use your TikTok? Are you still active on TikTok? Because you were there for a hot minute. You were quite active, but I don't know if you still are. Because I stopped using mine quite some time ago. Long before all of the current back and forth with like, is TikTok gonna be gone forever? It was like a couple of years ago, I just decided I was over it with attempting sleepy eyes. Okay. I'll have to check you out when I get back on my phone after this. Yeah, it was what, like 2 years ago, I think, when there was, like, this big, "Oh, you gotta do video, you gotta do reels, you gotta do short form video content if you want anyone to see your art," and I got very mad. And I ultimately this was part of a whole other thing that was going on at the same time, but that's a whole other story, but maybe if I have time, I'll get into that. There was another thing going on, like, professionally at the time. Even if I had Twitter, it would be X, but I don't. Do you have a YouTube channel? Yes, Barney, you're watching it right now. That's where you are now. Do you not know where you are right now? Are you confused? Sir, are you lost? Do you need help? Do we need to find you your people? Watching me on a VR headset. Whoa. Okay, but anyway, like I was saying, a couple years ago, uh, it was like the big, "Oh, you gotta do all of the things." We all need help. Yes, this is true. You gotta do all the things, and you gotta do video, and it doesn't matter if you're a visual artist, like, who does like, just a regular traditional illustrator, you have to do video, and I was just like, "This is awful, and I hate it," and it's like, that's not what I want to do. Yeah. Someone saying says, "Not me, I'm the only sane one here." It's true. True story. Yeah, it's so dumb, but I was so angry about all of that a couple of years ago. I can grab this because this is fairly close by. Oh, I forgot I was plugged in because my headphones needed to charge. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then a couple years ago is when I made this because I hate it so much. This is my first real screen print, and I I still make them even though my screen probably is not in the best shape anymore. I should probably reburn it at some point. Uh, not my personality. I mean, my personality is certainly part of it, but I don't wanna have to, like, perform and become a videographer and yeah, art, not heart. Well, I more or less followed what you meant. But anyway, I started making these prints, and at the same time that I, like, said, "Screw it completely," to doing any of this video stuff because I'm like, I'm not a goddamn content creator. Like, that's a dirty word. I hate it so much. Like, I'm creating art. I'm not creating mindless slop, and I don't need to just fill the internet with a bunch of random crap that has nothing to do with anything. And I also don't I'm not saying that all like art related content creators that's what they're doing, but if that's not what your focus is, if your focus is not being a content creator and your focus is being an artist, then you're not going to make a good content and you're not going to make good videos. What am I going to do? What is this going to be? It's going to be pointless because that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. How do I make prints? So that particular one that I just showed you was a screen print. My best friend Abby showed me how to screen print, and that was the beginning project I did. I did like a really like initial rough version of it first, and then I like refined it and redid it at home uh, to kind of see if I could figure out how to do the process on my own, which I pretty much managed. I still think they're way better at screen printing than I am because it's very technical, and I'm not always very good at being super technical. But a lot of my art prints that I sell, like, Comic Cons and craft fairs and stuff and art festivals, all of those I generally have printed by, like, an actual print making company, either the local print shop, which I kinda stopped using for a while because they kept on screwing up my orders, and it was very frustrating, or, like, through a mail order, like, specialty print maker. I have considered moving that in to be like an in-house thing and getting a nice color printer for myself, but I don't really wanna do that this year because sales are kind of weird at a lot of conventions lately, and this is just it just does not feel like a good time to be doing any big capital investments. Kinda trying to keep my expenses down and not really do any big investment on, like, new equipment or anything this year. The consensus seems to be among most everyone that I've talked to regarding convention sales this year, event sales this year, that everyone seems to be down somewhere in the like 25% range. So it's not the best time to be like having to buy a great big new piece of equipment or something. So maybe in the future, not right now. All right, we've got some of these rocks that are just kind of off on the side. They don't need to have as much detail because they're kind of further off in the background. We also don't have much space. This is true. I could make space for a new printer by getting rid of like my old printer that's starting to struggle with things, but still, space is at a premium. True story, kid. It's not dead yet. Oh, my laser jet? No, not entirely, but it's starting to do this thing where sometimes when I try to print a whole bunch of stuff, it'll skip pages and it'll only print on like half the piece of paper. So I think the actual like motor, the actual roller motors are starting to wear out, or like the gears on the rollers are starting to wear out and slip. So, and all of that stuff is like made out of plastic. So it's not like something you can even really repair or replace. Once it's worn out, it's just kind of done, which I hate. I hate that stuff is like that. Makes me mad. Thanks so much, Sheepy. All right. So that's the first panel. Yay, we did it. Simple solution, duct tape. I don't think duct tape is gonna work on my printer. If only. It would be nice if I could fix my printer with duct tape. You figure out how to fix the printer with duct tape. You go ahead. I'll give you the printer to when I get a new one, I'll give you the printer to, like, try to fix with duct tape. We'll see if you can do it. If you can do it, thank you. Yeah, I wasn't at first, when I first sketched in the little guy, he was too big, and I was like, "No, he needs to be smaller. He needs to look smaller in this great big rocky landscape." Alright. Clean up that underdrawing a little bit. Alright, I need to look at my reference of what does this character's clothes look like? I don't remember. What are you wearing, sir? Okay. He's, like, curled up on himself because he's cold. He is wearing duct tape. What? No. Being ridiculous. What are you doing awake anyway? Go to bed. Okay, good. Hugging his arms, trying to stay warm. Alright. Good night. He's got like a lace up front to this tunic. He's kind of pulled in on himself here. All right. And now we need more rocks. I'm not up on the strip. What's this guy's story? Yeah, so this is anyone who might recognize this guy, this is Zeke. He was the last time we saw him was the very end of volume 4. So that would have been the end of chapter 28. Last we saw him, he was running away from a terrifying big bad guy who had just killed his friend, and now he's kind of wandering around. So this is the first time we're reuniting with him to see like where you been, man? What's going on? Doesn't look like he's doing great. A rocky time. Yes, this is also like the working on chapter 28. It was just like a running gag of all rocks all the time. There were so many rocks to draw. So the idea is that yes, he's still someplace a little bit rocky, but he's getting out of the rocks. Not that things are necessarily going to go super great for him anytime soon, but you know, maybe he'll get better. Maybe. All right. So, there's that. We're in the last 10ish minutes of the stream. So it's time for me to start doing the YouTube things. I need a reference image for this. This looks very silly if I just try to make it up. And I'm going to remind you, I'm Amanda Call. This is my channel here on YouTube. I need a picture of a boot. In like a particular angle is the tricky part. That is a very small picture. That is not helpful. Okay. Anyway, so as I was saying, your favorite Thursday night show, did you know that it's Tuesday? Am I blowing your mind right now? Anyway, this right here, darn VR, making you slip out of time. This right here is Age of Night. This is my webcomic. You can read all of Age of Night online for free at ageofnight.com. That's AGEOFNIGHT.com. I upload new pages just about every week. And while you can read the whole thing for free, if you would like to support me, there's different ways you can do that. You can become a patron over on Patreon and get all of your comic pages a week early. You also get other cool behind the scenes looks at stuff I am working on, free comics for signing up, all that kind of good stuff. And I very much appreciate it because it really helps me out. You can follow me on various social medias. I'm active on them to varying degrees depending on how difficult they are being and my mood at the time. You can usually find me as either Amanda Call Art or Age of Night. Clean that up just a little bit. It's a little fuzzy in a few spots. And yeah, if you enjoy watching me work on comics or other artwork, you should definitely subscribe to the channel here. I do this stream just about every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And coming soon, this weekend, I am going to be at the Portland Art in the Park Art Festival. That is this Saturday, August 9th. In Portland, Maine, the original Portland. All right, it's not a Thursday stream. It's a Tuesday stream. It's Tuesday, friends. It's Tuesday. Anyway, that's what's going on here. I spaced out for a minute there while I was finishing my drawing of rocks. All right, so we started this stream with, I can count, 6 empty panels. 6 empty panels. I've gotten everything roughed in. We have the first 3 panels all drawn, and I still have 3 more panels to go, but I think next week we should have no trouble getting those finished and moving on to lettering. So thanks everybody for hanging out with me this evening. I will see you all next time. Bye.